fan of live performance, obviously. Becoming an even bigger fan of live performances that are shot at one time and allow people around the world to be a part of it. That's what you guys seem to specialize in. Tell us a little bit about the site and how you got started with this, and then we'll talk a little bit about how our members here can get involved.
Definitely. Well, you know, when we started out, my other co-founder, Michael Johnston, and I, you know, we were sitting there and we started to see a few years ago some people that were doing some in-studio live performances, and, you know, obviously up on the up and up were, you know, filming live concerts and things like that. And but all of them kind of left something to be desired. Either you know, they were focusing on the filming aspect of it, and the audio sounded terrible, or the audio was a focus, but you could barely even see the band playing. And so, you know, we put together this really, really talented team that we have here. And so what we've basically been trying to do is just create the highest quality content possible. And we knew from the beginning, you know, a startup music company that's streaming sessions, we're not going to get the biggest bands in the world in, and we're not going to get, you know, hundreds of thousands of fans watching. So what we did is we were like, let's start with the local music scene. Let's start with the bands that are really hustling in Chicago. Let's start with the bands that are doing it right, and let's you know, let's put together the highest quality product we can.
Now, you guys shoot these in an actual recording studio, don't you?
We do, yes, yes. It's
now, is that studio associated with your company, or is that someplace you rent?
It's a shared space that we share with a couple other companies. It used to actually, it's right here in the Wicker Park neighborhood in Chicago, and there's been some influential, you know, pretty big bands that have recorded here, Iron and Wine and other ones prior to us moving in. We were actually downtown Chicago early when we started doing our first sessions, but this studio is much better set up and higher quality for sure. But yeah, it is a recording studio. We record some bands too, and there's a lot of other projects that go on in there. But you know, kind of the nature of the music business, the studio business is tough. So it's great that we have a couple other companies that kind of share it, and it's just a shared space. But yeah, it's a full full professional recording studio up there.
Adam, how do I get invited to be on the Audiotree roster?
I love it. No, that's we get that email all the time, and it's simple. We have a, you know, you go to our website contact page, just email us at music@audiotree.tv. We listen to every submission once a week. We all sit down and we run through everybody that's played, and we, you know, pick which bands. We obviously, you know, we usually keep it to an average of 2 to 3 sessions a week. But we have it down to a science now, like you said, where, I mean, basically we've done 220 of these now. So we have just a well-oiled machine where we can have a band in, we can load them in, we can set them up, sound check, film the session, and they can be out the door in 3 hours. So that was another thing that was important, you know, when we started this, is because we didn't want to have, you know, another day to be routed into a tour for a band. We wanted this to be something where a band could be coming from Milwaukee, Minneapolis, Detroit. You know, they could get into town at 1 in the afternoon. We could get the band in, and you know, we could have them on their way to make sound check, you know, down at Lincoln Hall or Schuba's or whatever by the time, you know, in plenty of time. So I mean, that was the main goal, is we wanted to make this as high as quality and efficient as possible.
You know, how do you guys pay the bills on this? Help me out here, Adam.
Sure. No, that's a question we get just almost every day, and you know, like you said, it can be, a lot of people say, oh, what do you is this just an expensive hobby for you guys, or what? So. But ultimately, I mean, what we started doing is, you know, at the core, we wanted to make the highest quality content. We knew this wasn't going to be, you know, an overnight thing where, you know, one day we were going to start doing these sessions with an artist like Kellen and me, and then the next day Incubus was going to roll through. We knew that wasn't going to happen. So what we wanted to do is just start with the high quality, plan, you know, the long-term, you know, ascent, and slowly make our way through it. The way we've started paying the bills is, what we thought to ourselves is, if we can not only provide an incredibly high-quality, you know, promo stop for a band, but what we also started getting was fans that were writing us in, that were listening to the sessions on the live stream, and they're like, these recordings sound better than their studio album. And you know, and I liken that to the fact that it's that live feel, it's that in-studio practice space style recording that you know, that really comes across well in this format. And so what we started doing is all these people were emailing us to say, hey, I want to get my hands on this Desert Noises session, this band, you know, from Provo, Utah, that's friends of ours. How can I get it? So we're like, well, maybe what we can do is we can figure out a way to come up with a very, very artist-friendly model where they can come in, they can do this for free, no cost up front. And then what we can do is we can cover some of our costs and pay out the band some money by doing a 50-50 profit split of the sessions. So we started selling the sessions for $5.99. The high quality, you know, audio files and the video, and we've been, you know, people have been snapping them up like crazy. So basically, what our goal was is like, what if we could come up with a way for fans to discover new music, for bands to have a great promo opportunity while they're in town, and like you said, essentially be seen worldwide because we're streaming this live, and you know, we're putting it on YouTube and our site, which obviously can be accessed anywhere that you have an internet connection. And thirdly, what if we can actually make the bands some money? I mean, you know, Spotify and these other streaming sources have come around, and you know, they're great for music discovery, but we all know the payouts are rather slim, especially for these bands that are, you know, only doing a few thousand, you know, selling a few thousand records every time they put one out. So.